Review number 1. I love this little big blender. Blends really well for not being a top-of-the-line brand like Vitamix. Has held up well over the last few months. I love the size of the containers. I find myself mainly using the larger container most, but the to-go cup is great for prep-ahead morning smoothies. Previously had been using a NutriBullet 600WATT, and after about a year it didn't work as well and the motor has rusted. Also, my daughter is extremely sensitive with texture and the NutriBullet wasn't cutting it and I was getting sick of having to strain out lumps/seeds. This blender has done a great job without the added work of having to remove any lumps. Seeds are a little bit of an issue with blackberries and raspberries, but you can blend those first with water, strain the seeds, then add to the rest of the ingredients. Blueberries and strawberries blend fine without needing straining. Most everything else I've tried blends smooth: kale, spinach, oatmeal, pineapple, peaches, etc. Apples and carrots may be a bit grittier but a consistent texture nonetheless. Would love a Vitamix but can't justify spending that much on a blender at this point. I appreciate getting similar features though, like the temper. Works well to push down anything if blending something very thick or a lot of frozen ingredients without having to stop, remove the top, stir, etc. I've been extremely happy with this product and it appears to be made of much better quality than the competition, i.e. NutriBullet, Ninja, etc. My mom has a Vitamix, so it would be very interesting to do a side-by-side comparison. One thing I like better though, is the small, yet not too small size that can happily stay on the counter without taking up too much space and looks great while doing it. The SS is still as shiny as when I got it and the containers are extremely easy to wash. Just fill blender 1 halfway with water and a few drops of soap, blend and rinse. Oh, and I forgot to mention the coolest feature, the noise reduction. The shield definitely makes a huge difference. You can still hear it's blending but you don't have to worry you'll be waking anybody up. Review number 2. Love this thing, simple as that. I had 2 questions. Is it quiet? Does it blend well? Yes and yes. I was using a conventional blender that was not only very loud, it was leaving my smoothie chunky. I didn't mind terribly but my wife and kids did on both counts. They didn't care for little kale bits in their teeth. Smiley face. Jamba juice should know how to blend a smoothie, and they do. I've seen the videos of ones costing multiples of this one, touting the 2-prong blades, etc. But if you are looking to make smoothies, I can't imagine any improvement over this one. BTW, it has a 4-prong blade. Overall look and feel says quality. I've had it almost 2 months now and here are my observations. Noise. It is much quieter than traditional blenders straight up. I've compared to my previous blenders, my parents, and my in-laws just recently. Tip number 1, hold your hand on top and press down lightly. Tip number 2, place blender on a dish towel. It has a rubberized face and it is quiet for a blender, but these 2 tips will help a bit if you are going for the quietest blend. Blend. If I can get a video uploaded you will see it pulses slightly so I never have to stop and push stuff down or mix. It gets a nice vortex going in the middle that moves everything around. I didn't realize how unsmooth my smoothies were till I started using this. I dial it up to 5, love the thick quality feel and function of the dial versus push buttons, and let it do its thing. As long as you don't stop/start it, the pulse is just enough to blend everything but it will not splash up on the lid, so easy clean up. If you start/stop then it will splash up. Clean up. Since it has the cover for noise reduction, it has no handle, so if you have small hands, insert DT joke, it may be a bit awkward to pour one-handed. The container sides undulate, but it's still pretty easy to clean. There are no sharp creases for food to get stuck. There is reasonable space at the bottom between the blade tips and the sides for a sponge as well. I use a faucet sprayer and then a sponge. As mentioned, the top cover really doesn't get much on the underside at all. The rubber on the base will collect some protein powder dust if not careful. Fits on my counter under my cabinet with the cover on just fine. Breakfast recipe: so delicious coconut milk unsweetened vanilla, 2 scoops Orgain organic protein vanilla, fresh kale, 1/2 banana, 1/2 avocado, some frozen mixed berries. Sometimes I'll add a little peanut butter and slash or a sprinkling of turmeric powder. The peanut butter for a flavor change or for a little fat if I don't have an avocado. The turmeric powder, well, it's supposed to be good for you, doesn't help the flavor. I look forward to breakfast now as it makes for a satisfying, refreshing start to the day. Summary: this blender had the perfect blend of good quality, an excellent blend action/result, well above traditional blenders, and, while not cheap, not crazy expensive either when compared to some upmarket choices. I would buy this even if it wasn't quieter than regular blenders, which it is. Review number 3. I'm making smoothies at least once a day. I used to juice, but hated all the waste. I feel healthier and I'm losing weight. It blends everything great, to include ice cubes, frozen fruit, apples and today beets. My first choice was a Vitamix, but the price. Maybe I don't know what I'm missing, but I couldn't be happier with my choice at less than half the cost. Review number 4. It really is so much quieter than our old blender. We make fruit and kale smoothies every morning and this makes our smoothies quickly and quietly and we are very satisfied. I like the simple speed knob and the pulse works well. The included tamper is nice and now I don't have to worry about dinging up our spoons. For some things I wish it was larger, but for small batch everyday use it is perfect. We also got this at a great price. Review number 1. I love this little big blender. Blends really well for not being a top-of-the-line brand like Vitamix. Has held up well over the last few months. I love the size of the containers. I find myself mainly using the larger container most, but the to-go cup is great for prep-ahead morning smoothies. Previously had been using a NutriBullet 600WATT, and after about a year it didn't work as well and the motor has rusted. Also, my daughter is extremely sensitive with texture and the NutriBullet wasn't cutting it and I was getting sick of having to strain out lumps/seeds. This blender has